Welcome to the St. Thomas More Lynchburg's Homily Podcast. We join Father John Christian as he brings his insight and application to the readings for the second Sunday of Lent.
The gospel telling of the Transfiguration always calls to mind for me that expression of the liturgical theologians that I like to repeat so much. The liturgy, like so much of life, occurs between memory and hope. If we consider the context of this great scene of the Transfiguration, just before this happened, our Lord had told his disciples that he was going to die. Hitherto, this was something unknown to them. They had been following Jesus around as their master, friend, and teacher, and now he had shared with them that he was indeed going to suffer and die. And so our Lord, knowing full well that how human nature works, takes those three, Peter, James, and John, these men who would be the leaders of the early church, takes them up onto the mountain, and this kind of echoing of Moses on the mountain, and he's there transfigured in glory before their very eyes, in the presence of Moses and Elijah, fulfilling the law in the prophets in himself. And so Peter, James, and John see the one who they have acknowledged as the Son of God, but now they see it for real. If they had any doubts at that point, they were surely dispelled, for they saw our Lord shining with that transfigured brightness, and then that cloud of the presence of God before which they fell prostrate, identified him as his beloved Son with that great instruction to listen to him. And so I always have to think to myself that in the following times when Peter, James, and John would see Jesus be arrested, scourged, and nailed to the cross and hung there until dead, they would be sustained through that hardship by this memory. They would know that this was the Son of God, this is the Son of God, and that there will be glory to come after that darkness. For so often, like I said, for all of us who've lived in this life or have lost a loved one, we live between memory and hope. We cherish those memories of that person or happier times, and we hope for that reunification or hope for that restoration of happiness. And so it is again, of course, with the liturgy itself. At the holy sacrifice of the Mass, we see present to us the sacrifice and heartache of Calvary, but so too do we see that foreshowing, if you will, of the heavenly banquet that is to come. And so much of life happens between memory and hope. And this is the witness that the church offers to the world. No matter what's going on, no matter what political turmoil there is, or no matter what societal decay there might seem to be around us, or whatever current conflagration in the Middle East has started up, we know that, well, at the end of all of this reigns our Lord Jesus Christ. With him, there is the restoration of all things. There is that transfigured glory. There is the hope of the salvation of all souls, of all the world. And so that's what gives us that strength to look upon hardship. We are sustained by that memory of a God who so loved us that he came to be amongst us, and he left us the memorial of his presence and the holy sacrifice of the Mass and the most blessed sacrament of the altar. The God who is with us abides with us to sustain us until we are united with him for all eternity. That, again, is the mission of the church, to point out this shining glory of God in a world that so desperately needs it. And for that reason, that is why this weekend in Lent is the conclusion of that annual diocesan appeal of which we spoke last weekend. For the church has that mission of witnessing to the truth of our Lord Jesus Christ to the whole world. I'll share a piece of trivia with you that you probably know, but every inch of the globe is under the spiritual care of some priest or bishop somewhere, even to the extent that when there's somebody on the moon, they're under the pastoral care of, I forget which diocese in Florida, but the one that has Cape Canaveral in it. So wherever people are, there is spiritual care. That's the mission of the church, to proclaim the truth of our Lord Jesus Christ to all peoples, wherever they are, to administer to them the sacraments wherever they are. And where we are is in this particular church, the church in Richmond. And so the point of the annual appeal, as I stated last weekend, it's not a stockpiling, it's a fundraising for all of the collected monies to go back out to all of the parishes to continue that work, to continue to build the fuel and food funds, to fund the pro-life activities of the church, to look to the formation of seminarians, the retirement of clergy, and all of the work of the church. That's what this appeal is for, to continue the good works of the church in this particular place, work that has always been important. I would say more important now than ever, but it's always been of absolute pivotal importance. The message of our Lord Jesus Christ, the truth of salvation in him, the freedom from sin that he offers, the salvation that he offers. And so too on this Sunday, we also celebrate and observe the rites of sending for election and the call to continuing conversion of our folks that are in OCIA. Think about 39 people who through study and prayer have discerned their path to the church of our Lord Jesus Christ. They themselves, through their very presence, show to us the importance of the mission of the church and standing firm for the truth of Christ, and specifically, again, in this particular place, in this parish, within this particular church that is the Diocese of Richmond. So I ask that you please consider supporting the annual appeal, and or if perhaps you don't feel ready right now to fill out one of these envelopes, to at least pray for the success of this endeavor and for the works of the church within the Diocese of Richmond. So we'll just take a couple moments to pray for that, and if you feel ready to fill out an envelope, please do, and simply just place it in the collection basket.
Thank you for tuning in to the St. Thomas More Lynchburg's Homily Podcast. For the daily reading and to learn more about the community of St. Thomas More, please visit our website at www.stmva.org. If you were blessed by our podcast today, please give it a like, a kind review, and share it with a friend. God bless.